Nikki asked if I was good. I could barely think, barely breathe. Beads of sweat formed on my temples. I swallowed hard, forced a smile, forced the words out. Yeah, I'm great. And I turned to face them. Normal. They looked normal. Everything was normal. But my stomach twisted into knots because I knew what I saw. And for the first time since I got home, I realized I had nowhere to run. You sure you're good? I can't even remember who asked me that. Yeah, I'm good, man. My head's just pounding. I think I should go home. That part was true. It was pounding. Nikki frowned. You need a ride? Internally, fuck no. Externally, nah bro. What, you like driving dudes around in your car or something? You into teenage boys? I got this. The other two laughed. The tension cracked, just a little. We all started getting ready to part ways, but I dragged it out. Paced around their cars, made jokes, tossed the football over the hoods, anything to stall. I kept stealing glances at the mirrors and windows, waiting for another glimpse at what was under their veils. Nothing. The first few times I swear I saw their eyes dart away from mine in the reflections, like they knew what I was doing. Then it was like they just stopped looking towards me altogether. No matter how I angled myself, how fast I glanced, I never caught them like I had on the field. And yet, looking back, I can't shake the feeling, like they knew exactly where I was looking. Like they had just found ways to stare at me from difficult angles without me ever catching their eyes. I'm just glad they let me go home. I don't know what the end goal is, but I feel like I'm being bled out, played with, before I'm eaten. Eaten. I managed to steady my breathing on the ride back. As I pulled up to my house, I veered toward the spare garage, an old, detached structure barely used except for storage. I figured I'd leave my bike in there for now, just so I wouldn't have to linger outside any longer than necessary. I wheeled up to the side door, gripping the rusted handle. The lock had long since broken, and with a firm push, the door groaned open. Dust and stale air hit me first. The scent of old cardboard and forgotten junk. The space was dim, faintly illuminated by streetlights filtering through the grimy windows. I rolled my bike inside, careful not to trip over scattered tools and warped furniture when I froze. In the center of the garage, right where it shouldn't be, was my car. Perfectly intact, not totaled, not even scratched. My breath caught in my throat. I took a slow step forward, fingers brushing the hood. Cold, real, tangible. The last I'd heard of this car, I was being told it had been wrecked, scrapped. My parents handed me $250 and said that's all it was worth. So why was it here? I circled to the driver's side and peered inside. The keys weren't in the ignition, but they dangled from the dash. Something was off. The seat, normally adjusted to fit me, was pushed all the way back, like someone much taller had been sitting there. A low tremor crawled up my spine. The car, despite being untouched, was covered in dust. How long was I in the hospital? Doesn't matter. It was getting dark. I did a quick fluid check, ran my hands over the tires, making sure it'd be ready if I needed it, then jogged back to the house. But the second I stepped through the front door, it hit me again. Rapid, aggressive shuffling, door slam. Then, in a voice too casual, too normal to be real. Honey, you missed dinner. Want me to heat some up for you? Nope. It's okay, Mom. I'll handle it. The living room TV was blue-screened, casting a sickly glow over the open floor plan. I didn't dare mess with my parents' setup. At this point, they had to know I was onto them, and I would do nothing to disturb the peace. I grabbed some snacks from the fridge, went straight to my room, locked the door, dug out my old iPod Generation 6 from middle school, buried in a shoebox, and set it to charge. For a while, I just sat there, listening. It was too quiet. I FaceTimed the iPod from my phone, hesitating, debating whether I should even leave my room. The upstairs layout was simple. 4 rooms. Mine was first on the left at the top of the stairs. My parents' was last on the right. At the very end, a closet, where we kept detergent and towels. My bathroom was the last door on the left. The plan was simple: a strategic iPod drop-off during my next bathroom run. I executed flawlessly, waiting for the next round of patrolling before slipping out. I cracked the closet door just enough to give my iPod a view down the hall, plugged the charger in beneath the bottom shelf, and left it there. A hidden eye. A way to see what my parents really looked like when they thought no one was watching. I almost regret this decision. It seemed fine when I got back into my room and locked the door. I quietly angled my dresser in front of it, wedging my desk chair as tightly as I could under the handle. Too much mouvement. I heard my parents' door fly open, slamming into the inside wall of their bedroom. By the time I grabbed my phone, she was already there. Standing at the end of the hall, facing my door, swaying. She was past the weird, shifting face that Nikki had. Whatever this is, there's stages. Her jaw wasn't just distended, it was stretched beyond its limit, the skin pulled so tight it dangled with every sway of her body. Even from here, I could see the bags under her eyes. Not just dark circles, but loose, sagging folds that drooped to her upper lip, exposing way too much dry pink eyelid. Her hair, thin and patchy, clung to her scalp with a greasy sheen from the glow of the living room TV and the dim light spilling from the master bedroom. Her arms didn't hang. Her elbows were bent at stiff, unnatural 90-degree angles, shoulders hunched forward, wrists limp, long, bony fingers dangling. The only way I knew it was my mom was the pajama top. It clung to her sharp skeletal frame, stretched over the ridges of her spine, hanging loose around her frail shoulders. She leaned in, pressed against the door. Her head tilted, slow, deliberate, like she could see through the wood, tracking exactly where I was. And then, a whisper. "Honey, are you awake?" Her mouth didn't move. Lips stretched thin, jaw unhinged and frozen in that grotesque, slack-jawed state. But the words came anyway. Perfectly clear. Perfectly human. "I know you're up, honey. I just heard you moving." Yeah. I just moved some furniture around. I didn't like where my TV was." A pause. Then the whisper again. Perfectly clear. Perfectly human. "Can I see?" My throat tightened. "Tomorrow," I lied. "I'm naked right now. I don't want to get dressed." "Please, please, please work." I was frozen, my face glued to my phone screen, not daring to look away from the grainy FaceTime feed. My breath barely made a sound. Then, finally, "Okay, tomorrow then." As she spoke, something shifted in the farthest, darkest corner past the stairs. At first I thought it was just shadow, but then an arm, thin, brittle, dangling down from the ceiling like a puppet on cut strings. Another arm followed, then a body, slow and deliberate, lowering itself down the wall. My stomach turned to ice. Dad. Did he ever even leave the house? Was he already this far along when he picked me up from the hospital with Mom? None of it mattered. He moved with absolute silence, clambering up the stairs as Mom whispered one last time, "Good night, son. I love you." Then, Dad shuffled past her. Same stiff, unnatural cadence Mom had been moving with for weeks. If I weren't staring straight at him, I would have sworn it was still her. He went to the master bedroom, closed the door. Then, without making a single noise, he came back. A trick I would have surely fell for if I hadn't been watching them this whole time. He ended right behind where she was standing, and that brings me to now. For the past 2 hours, they've been outside my door. Every move I make, they track it. Through the wood. Through the silence. It's 3:02 a.m. If I can just make it to daylight without passing out, I think I can open the bay window and jump. After that, straight to the spare garage. Grab the car. Get the fuck out of town. I don't know how far this shit has spread, but I can't stay here. Oh fuck. They're getting on the ground, lowering themselves, peeking under the door. I might have to go right now. Okay, fuck. I'll update this when I'm safe. And that's the stories for today. And if you have ever experienced something spine-chilling, share your story in the comments below, and we will feature it in the next videos. See you next time, and don't forget to lock your doors.